Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
The sun is rising, feel the warmth on my face. There's a lot to do now, but there ain't no race. I sip my coffee, I'm feeling fine. No need to work yet, I'm gonna take my time. It's a brand new day, gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way. It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way.
Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. My name is Kimberly McLemore, and I am your host. With us, we have Donya Zimmerman, founder and owner of Powerful Biz Woman.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, welcome, Donya. How are you doing?
I am doing great. How are you doing today, Kimberly?
I'm doing great. It is such a pleasure to meet you. We've kind of been crossing paths, so I haven't really had the opportunity to meet you in person because every time I know you're somewhere and I'm somewhere, we still never get to meet, but at least we get this opportunity to be able to chit-chat for a little bit and get through this interview. So I'm really excited about getting this done tonight.
Yes.
All right. So can you tell the listeners, Donya, a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Donya Zimmerman, the Powerful Biz Woman. I have a legal background. I was an attorney for about 10 years. I decided, due to some hardships that I went through, I decided to close up my law practice in 2012, and I had to figure out what I was going to do with my law degree, all this education I had, and I had to decide what I was going to do. And so I started looking into public speaking, business training, business education. And so it took me about a couple of years, from 2012 to about 2015. I had to figure out what I was going to do. I had to create a plan. I had to set goals to meet those goals. I had to take a couple of courses to learn how to be a business consultant and be a business coach. So around 2015, that's when everything, just came into play. Everything just started, falling into the right place because I had to get rid of the baggage of losing my law practice before I could move forward and become the Powerful Biz Woman. Okay. So that's what I did. And I had a radio spot on Evolutionary Woman with my friend Khadija Ali. Okay. And that was the Powerful Biz the Powerful Biz tip of the week. And it was just a tip that I gave every Monday on her show to, entrepreneurs and business owners, how to run your business more efficiently. Okay. And then I created the CYA Cover Your Assets radio show. And that was geared towards educating business owners on the legal aspects and financial aspects of running a business. Because I realized that every business conference I went to or event I went to, they always talked about how to get the clients, how to make the money, how to make the products and services, but nobody ever really touched on the legal aspect of starting and running a business and a financial aspect of doing it. It was just like, we're going to help you get money and help you get clients. But then I was like, well, what about when they get the clients and when they get the money? Are you teaching them how to protect themselves from that one unhappy client or protect themselves from that one business deal that could destroy them financially? And that's why I created the CYA Cover Your Assets radio show. And it will be back on by September
Okay.
And I'll have the information about that. And then I met a business partner named Alina Lopez Thomas, and we came up with the Ultimate Biz Conference, where what we do is we educate people on the legal and financial aspects of being in business. And we had our first conference in Quincy, Massachusetts, this past weekend.
Okay.
It's a suburb of Boston, and it was a great success. And we're going to have our next one in New York in April, and more information will come out about that. And I'm a public speaker, and I'm an author as well.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop you right there because you're giving me all this great information, but I want to backtrack some. I want to go kind of back to the beginning when you talked about the fact that you were an attorney. Tell me a little bit about where you're from. Are you from this area? You know, you decided to become an attorney. Where did you go to school? And then what made you transition? Like you were talking a little bit about the fact that you lost your law firm, but talk a little bit about all of that, and then we'll jump back into some of the business stuff here.
Okay, well, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and I live in Baltimore City.
Okay.
And I went to the University of Baltimore Law School. I got my undergrad at the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, sociology, pre-law.
Mm-hmm.
I had a law practice, but the thing is, when you're in law school, they teach you how to be a litigator and how to be an efficient lawyer, but they don't teach you how to run a law practice. They don't teach you how to be a business person.
Right.
And so because I didn't have that education that I have now, since I'm on the other side of being a business owner, you get that education through Small Business Administration, through Maryland PTAB, through different organizations and business coaches who actually teach you how to run your business efficiently.
Correct.
To a certain extent, but it's through the Small Business Administration that mainly does that. And that's how I got through SCORE. I got me a business mentor and a business coach through SCORE, and they taught me how to be a businesswoman. They taught me how to run my business financially and how to run it legally, because I didn't as a lawyer. So what happened was I was busy being a good litigator, being a good attorney, but I was not at maintaining my business, making sure my clients' money was protected, making sure that the finances of the business, and I hired the wrong person. And at the end of the day, when you are the boss and you own the business, you are held responsible for anything that your employees do. Absolutely. And anything that you do. And what happened was clients' money was mishandled. Clients' cases were mishandled. So I was barred. So it was a learning lesson that, you know what? I wish I could have met a business coach or someone who could have helped me run the business of my law practice, but I didn't have anybody.
Right. And you know, I was listening to everything you were talking about when it comes to starting a business. And that's where a lot of people do make their mistake. It's like you have all these different programs out here today where you can get all these certifications, you know, whether it's being in realty, like you said, or whether it's being an attorney or any other type of business where you feel like you have to have your education. But a lot of times when you come out after that, that is the biggest thing that people don't understand is the business side of going into business. And when you talked about SCORE, SCORE is a very important program, and it's in every state. And I'm originally from the Midwest area. And so when I have a small business consulting piece of a program, which I currently still have. But when I was in the Midwest, I actually worked with SCORE and actually had my own program. So I did the Iowa side and they did the Illinois side. And so, you know, it's very important to have those pieces of the aspect of how do you start your business? What is your plan? You know, how are you being protected? Like I said, all those little things that we don't think about when we jump out there and start doing the things that we do know. It's the stuff that we don't know that causes people to fail in businesses. And I think that the lessons that you learn, I think it's awesome. I mean, it was a bad lesson, but at the same token, here you have an opportunity to help other people not make those same mistakes.
Exactly. And that's how we me and my partner, Lena Lopez Thomas, came up with the Ultimate Biz Conference. Because with the Ultimate Biz Conference, it's a 2-day conference that gets you ready to be in business, but it gets you ready to be in business from a legal standpoint,
exactly,
and from a financial standpoint. Like you understand why you need to have your business set up as a legal business entity, because you have to separate yourself from your business, because if you don't, if you get sued, you will be personally held liable for any liabilities or debts that the business owns. It's okay to do a sole proprietorship for the first 2 years. I'll even say up to 5 years, but to me, for the first 2 years, and then after that, you got to create it as a separate business legal entity.
Right, exactly. And so basically, your experiences is what inspired you to start your own business. Is that part of the reason why you started your own business?
Well, that was part of it, and the fact that I was unemployable. People didn't want to hire me.
Okay.
I went out there and I applied for jobs, and I applied. The only job that I was able to get was to be a substitute teacher when all of this first happened. So I've been a substitute teacher. I tried to become a certified teacher, but I didn't pass the math test. And I think that was God telling me, yeah, this substitute teacher job is good for you to fuel your business. Right. Like Lisa Nichols said in Abundance Now, see your job as a financial investment into your future. And that's what I see as a substitute teacher. And I understand why God has put certain roadblocks in front of me to make me focus on my business.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny how, like we always say, you think you have your plan, but we really know that we're not the plan maker. We just are trying to lay out the land, but we have to learn to listen to what is sitting in front of us. And I think that your experiences has definitely put you in that place. And I guess a part of the questions I want to ask is that now you talked a little bit about the challenge of what happened to you after you had was barred and had to, and was unable to get unemployment and so forth. But what has been the challenges of starting the business per se? And, you know, what have you been facing since you've been in business? As a matter of fact, how many years have you been doing this business?
I've only been doing it for since 2015. Okay. So it's only been for about 2 years, since September of 2015. Okay. And the most challenge I've had was changing my mindset from being disbarred to being the Powerful Biz Woman. And I wrote in a book analogy with Teresa Howard Haley, From Fear to Freedom. And my chapter was disbarred, making a major comeback. And so once I wrote that chapter, I released all that baggage, all that shame. I let it go. Right. I turned, like Willie Jolly says, turn your setbacks into greenbacks. I read that book, and that book really helped me. It really helped me.
Yeah, I think that.
Really did.
Yeah, I think that, you know, we all have certain challenges and, as we say, sometimes demons that we have to face. And at the end of the day, it's those situations, you, like I said, you have to let it go. Because if you constantly keep looking in that rearview mirror, you're never going to look forward. And, you know, sometimes the blessing is that, you know, these things have to happen to you for you to understand what your worth is, you know, how you're valued and how you can see yourself in the future. And like I said, we all are probably, I'm sure every single one of us, or even the listeners listening, can tell a story. It doesn't always have to necessarily be tragic, but at the same token, be able to tell a story of, hey, this is what's happened to me, and this is why I am who I am today and where I'm going to. And like they always say, it's not where you're coming from, it's what you're trying to get accomplished and where you're going to. And so you're definitely making some great accomplishments, and you have to be really proud of yourself for that. So talk to me a little bit about your public speaking and you being an author. I heard you mention that early on when you were describing your business. Well,
I became an author by accident because I met Teresa Haley Howard on Facebook. And the person that really helped me was when I met Lori Pulser. She's phenomenal. She became like my life coach, my business coach. Okay. And she worked with me. I wasn't able to afford all of her services, but she worked with me. And when we met at Shea Brown and Trevor Oates I forgot it, 72 Hours of Power. Me and her were talking, and we were talking about the legal aspects of business. And it was other entrepreneurs and business owners sitting there, but none of them had their stuff together. And when she was like, Don, you were just spilling out this stuff, and they were looking at you like you were crazy. She said, you got so much power in you that you didn't realize it. And it was like, they didn't have their stuff together. And they were sitting up there looking at me like they had to leave, because they were like, we don't want to talk about that part. We just want to get the clients and make the money. We don't want to deal with the financial and the legal aspects. And me and her resonated. And she said, you gave me some great advice. And she said, you need to write your book. She gave me the title, This Bar, Making a Major Comeback. And it was because of her that I sat down and I finally wrote the book, because Teresa was like, Donya, I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you. It took me a while because I was embarrassed. And then once I met with Lori and she got me through that process and I wrote the book and I saw it in print, it was like I just let it go.
Right.
It was like therapy for me.
Right. And it was. I mean, and that's the key. You needed to have something that was yours. You know, because it was at that point where it seemed like everybody had taken everything away from you, even though you had earned every aspect and every opportunity to be where you're at. You know, you went through school, you went through all those hard knocks of getting to that point. And then, like you said, within a matter of seconds, it was all gone. And so now that moment, I think, was probably that moment, like you said, where it was yours. It was something that you could look at and say, I did this. Nobody has taken this away from me. This is who I am as a person. And it's okay. I've learned my lesson. Now I moved on. And that was having that book, I think, is awesome, because, you know, you're right. Writing is a form of therapy. I think, you know, I've done that myself. When I wrote my first book, that was what it was. It was a form of therapy, you know, just trying to understand certain things that you go through in life. And it could be one little simple thing. It could be one hard thing. But at the end of the day, it makes you who you are. And it gives you that boost that you need to know that you're going to be okay and you can continue to move on. And that's exactly what you've accomplished. So tell me a little bit about some of your successes. If you had to pick out right now one success that is so meaningful to you, what would that be that you could share with the audience today?
During the Ultimate Biz 2-day conference, because I kept saying, oh, I'm going to have my own conference. I'm going to do it. And I kept pushing it off. And then God had me speak at Alina's, when she had her other partner, had me speak at her event in Quincy, Massachusetts last November. And God said, that's going to be your new partner. And y'all want to have y'all conference in June of this year. And I said, no, God, I'm going to wait until 2018. He said, no, you're not. You're going to do it now. And he put everything in place. When we met from November, we planned out the Ultimate Biz 2-day conference. We planned out everything. And it worked. And I said, God, you were right. And once we did it, Alina was like, Donya, it was a success. Because at first she was like, I don't know if I want to do next year. I know I signed that contract, but I don't know. I said, well, if you don't want to do it, I'll do it myself. I'll just do a new contract where you understand that you will not be a part of Ultimate Biz Conference, and I will release you and let you go. And then after the event was over and she saw how successful it was and the feedback we got, I'm on at the airport this past Sunday. I'm tired. And she calling me while I'm waiting for my dad to pick me up from BWI. Girl, this is what we need to do for next year. We need to do ABC. I'm like, okay. And that's when God said, it was like, all right, God, I got you. So the next one is going to be in New York. You know? Okay. And we already got our team together.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Like I said earlier, you have your plan and he has his plan, right?
Yes.
And at the end of the day, we think we're in control, but we are not in control. You know, he just lets us push the pedal, you know, every now and then slows us up to make us realize that this is what needs to be done. So, you know, it's great that your partner had an opportunity to open her mindset a little more and be able to realize that her value is needed and she could do this. So congratulations on both of you guys' end. So,
thank you.
You're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. So if there's another woman right now who's listening to this program, what type of advice would you give them about coming into business?
The first thing I would tell them is go to the Small Business Administration and take courses. And the courses that you need to take are the ones they offer for accounting. They offer courses on the legal parts of business, on how to set up your entity. Go to SBA.gov. If you can't afford to hire a business coach or a business consultant, or if you're afraid to hire an attorney, go ahead and take courses, because the Small Business Administration, they have so much to offer you. SCORE has free business coaches and free business mentors who will meet with you.
That's right.
And will meet with you. And then they will follow up with you, because my SCORE business coach and business mentor, they still call me to say, hey, Donya, I'm just checking to see how you're doing. And we're friends on Facebook. And she was like, I see that you had your conference. I am so proud of you. And then what they need to do is don't quit your day job. Keep that job and put money aside. Save money. Like if you, especially female entrepreneurs, you like to buy the Fendi pocketbook. They always say, you got to look the part. You got to look dressed for success. No, you don't. Invest in your business. Forget about looking the part. Get you a black dress. Get you that navy blue suit, and invest in some clothes that you know you can diversify and reverse and wearing different things. And then what you do is you take that money and invest in a life coach. That's the number one thing. Get your personal life together before you decide to go into business. Because if like Erykah Badu said, bag lady, you can't carry all that baggage with you. If you're trying to move forward, get rid of all that baggage, and then hire you a business coach. But at the same time, make sure you have on your dream team an accountant, a bookkeeper, attorney, an insurance agent, and a banker, your business coach, and your life coach. Those are the 7 people you should have to help you start your business. And if you can't afford an attorney, that's why you have Legal Shield. Absolutely. Legal Shield is good. It's only $50 per month for a business. Invest in the lawyer. If you don't do anything else, invest in that lawyer and that accountant, because they will help you get your finances in order, and they will help you get everything legally ready for business.
Well, yeah, and at the end of the day, what it boils down to is that people need to know their strengths and their weaknesses, when they're coming into business. And, the bottom line is you can't do everything. You don't know everything. And that's one thing that I would always, I'm doing when I'm training people when they're trying to do a business plan, because that's a part of doing your business plan is those pieces of aspects that you just described. And 90% of the time, people want to skip over that. And then they wonder why they're closed down 90 days after they opened up their business, because they don't have those items in line. You have to have an accountant. That's common sense. You have to deal with IRS. It's no different than if you're not in business. But people will assume that it's okay, that they can walk away from that. Oh, we'll just deal with that later. Let's just get the business going. They're investing all this time and money into something that, like you said, they don't understand the ramifications that come with that. And, whether it's the legal side, whether it's IRS or whether it's the other piece of it, of understanding how to make your business, whether it's an LLC or a C Corp, all that, or sole proprietorship, people don't want to deal with that piece of it. And that's why the plan is so important. And just your basic everyday expenses. It amazes me how many people don't even know how much they're spending. So those are all the steps that you're talking about that have to be done before you should even open your door. But 90% of times people will go behind the door and do it the backwards way versus realizing that document is an evolving document, and it's not something that. Go ahead.
And plus, they will hire business coaches that don't understand the startup phase of business. Because there's a lot of business coaches out there like you and me, where we understand how to get a business coach that will help you start your business up properly. Don't get a business coach who works with people once they have their business properly set up. Because a lot of times these business coaches will try to fool you and tell you, all you need me to do is help you get that client. Get that client system in place. Get that revenue generating system in place. No, you're not at that point if you're at the starting phase. Right. You need a business coach who's going to help you, like you or me, Kimberly. I don't do business plans, so I will refer people to you and Alina. Get that business plan, written up. That is your roadmap to your business. Then I come in, I look at, okay, I see what Kimberly wants you to do. Well, I know this attorney. We're going to go to SBA.gov. We're going to talk to the, your state agency and see what are the rules for each, legal entity, which one will benefit.
Exactly.
I've got you. I will guide you and send you to an accountant who will explain stuff to you about the financial aspects. A lot of business coaches don't teach people that.
That's right.
They don't. They just teach you how to get clients, teach you, and they tell you, oh, you can do the sole proprietorship and get the clients, and then you get that one client that's going to sue you.
Right.
And you're not
That's
protected.
right.
And they take your and I get tired of these business coaches. That's all they do is talk about getting the clients and getting the money, but they don't talk about first. Let's talk about you setting up your business properly. Right. I just deal with the startup phase, and then once I get you all set up and you're ready to go, what I do is I make sure you are all ready to go. I make sure that you have everything in place to protect yourself.
Right. Exactly. Not sure what that's going on there. Hello?
Yeah.
You still there? Hello? All right, audience, we're going to just hold for a second here. I see that we got an interruption. Not sure what's going on with that, but we'll just hold on for a quick couple minutes and let me try to get her back online. I think that somebody interrupted our interview here. So, but in the meantime, let's try to get her back online here real quick, you guys. 1 second, audience. Hang in there with me. Okay, we're going to try to reach back out to Miss Donya Zimmerman, who is the founder and the owner of the Powerful Biz Woman. And we were still in the middle of the interview to discuss the legal aspects of what it means to be in a startup business, as well as the other aspects of going into a business. So still trying to get a hold of Miss Zimmerman. Here we go. Hello.
I don't know what happened.
It's okay. It's no problem. We're still on the call, so we're gonna finish this up. So we're gonna keep this moving. I'd like to apologize to the audience, but we're gonna keep this going. Hello, are you there?
Hello. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you good. All right, we just want to go ahead and finish up the last portions of this interview. It's okay. These things do happen. Technology and drop calls happen all the time. So it's perfectly fine. But no, just to kind of backtrack a little bit about what we were talking about, how the importance of, having the startup business and the pieces that come with that to start it up properly. And like you said, before people start opening up their doors. And like I said, in the many years of experience that I have had working with people, that has usually been the one all be all thing that keeps them from staying in business, is because they did not start it up properly. And so even like I said, the legal aspect to me is probably one of the most important pieces, because they have to have that. And that's one thing I don't provide. So I'm always looking for, an individual like you who has that piece where you can teach them those things. I mean, I know the basics as far as, hey, do you want an LLC? Do you want a sole proprietorship? But really, truly digging down deep into that, that's really important. And then you talk a lot about the mentor piece. The one thing that I think is important too, that even once you open your doors and you decide to come in business, I think it's really great to have what I call it the mentoring business to business piece, which also SCORE and a lot of the SBA programs, they provide that, because I think that's an important piece to have. And in my organization, I provide the same thing. I think it's great to be able to have somebody hold your hand, so to speak, and say, hey, this is how you do point A to point B. We're not trying to take over your business, but this is the pieces that you need to understand, how that all runs together. It's not just about providing a product or providing just a service in the business. So I think that, like I said, everything you're doing is awesome. And I really appreciate what you are providing to the community. And unfortunately, like I said, you've gone through those hard knocks, but those hard knocks have got you to where you're at today.
Exactly. And I just feel that once people get a clear understanding of the legal aspects and financial aspects, it gives them encouragement to write their business plan, because a lot of
Yep.
people are afraid of business plans. They are afraid of anything legal, financially. It's like, to them, it's like taboo. It's like, no, 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 I don't want to touch that. And I'm like, okay, well, you shouldn't be in business.
Right. Well, I mean, that's basically for anybody who, even if you're not in business, it amazes me how many people cannot sit down, like we were talking before, about knowing what bills they have to pay. They cannot sit down and tell you
Exactly.
month in and month out, what do they have to pay. I don't care if it goes all the way down to what do you buy on your weekly groceries. It amazes me when we get to that point of talking about having a budget, they look at you like, a budget? What do you mean?
Huh?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, well, if you can't budget your personal goals and your personal life, that's going to be a problem, because you have to know how to budget being in a business. So, those are all those little aspects that, I don't take for granted, but I think a lot of people, like I said, they push it to the side, and it's that the fear of the unknown of saying, you know what, I don't want to deal with that. We'll get to it. Well, then by the time they get to it, they've lost, even in something as simple as renewing your state requirements every year. You have to pay that fee here in Virginia, and even if you forget that, they will shut you
Oh,
down.
yeah.
You can't even run a
Yeah,
business.
in
That's
Maryland,
happened. Yep.
yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
in Maryland, it happened to me. I thought I had paid my LLC fee. I
Mm-hmm.
paid it, but I didn't pay it in time. They took the money, but I didn't pay it. And in that little window of a week, this one client was able to sue me and get a personal judgment against me because of that 1 week. And the judge said,
Wow.
Ms. Zimmerman, I am so sorry. I tried my best, but she has a case because he has documentation to show that you did pay for the LLC, but everything that happened before
4.
they
Mm-hmm.
before they stamp that. And that's why I tell people, what is $250 a year in Maryland to cover yourself as a limited liability company? You spend money on trips, you spend money on going out, Starbucks. That money that you spend on, stuff you don't really need, you
Right.
can put and invest. And that's what I learned. Like right now, I'm getting my taxes together. I'm being transparent. I'm getting, because I hadn't worked. And it was like, what's the use of doing taxes? And when I went to account, he said, you don't even need to file for 12, 13, and 14. But then when I got 15 and 16, it was like, it wasn't necessarily for me to file because I didn't make a lot of money. But the
Mm-hmm.
accountant was like, Donya, if you file, you can get the money back to pay for
Exactly.
all those taxes that you owe from your law practice.
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and file. And when I tell people these stories, that's when they like, I need to hire you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hide the mess. I turn my mess into a message, turn that messy mess into a powerful message. And they're like, you're doing everything that I need to do. And
Yep.
you're doing it right now. I said, exactly. I have an accountant. I'm setting up with Legal Shield again to get attorney of record. I said, because I represent this, I have to do it my part. And I have a meeting with my accountant, and I'm so proud of myself because I'm getting everything in place to tell people, hey, I did A, B, and C. It took me 2 years to do it. You can do it too.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the key. Timing, I think, is everything. And like I said, you had to let go of the baggage in order to understand where you need, how to move forward. And you're doing that. And that's the blessing, out of all these experiences. And like I said, you have now the capacity and the capability to share with other people so they don't have to make those mistakes. And that's the thing that is so important that my program provides, and that's what the Women's Small Business Initiative is all about. Women, we all have all this power. We know what we're doing. We're all in business. There's no reason that we all have to reinvent the wheel. This is why it's so
Yeah.
important to share these resources and to understand what we are doing. There should not be one woman who should not be successful if they want to become a female entrepreneur, period. because there's too much information. Like you said, you have all these different mentors. We have all of us different women who are in business. We all can provide something and bring something to the table. So this is very valuable and very, important information that even tonight, having this interview, you don't know who you could be suddenly reaching and touching out to. They'll be like sitting there probably in their chair right now saying, oh my gosh, this is me. This is what happened to me. Now I can feel that I can take that shame off and I can reach out to this person because she can help me. She understands who I am. And this is why this is so important to have these podcast programs. And this is what I love to do the most, is being able to hear other women, great women like you, share your experience with somebody else. So on that note, could you tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you?
Well, I'm all over social media. On LinkedIn, it's Donya Zimmerman JD. On Instagram, it's just Donya Zimmerman. On Twitter, it's at FACNBC. And on Facebook, it's Powerful Biz Woman, or just type in Donya Zimmerman. My email address is D as in Donya, Zimmerman 36 at gmail.com. And I do have a website, but I'm going to improve it, but I do have something. It's called, you go to Powerful Biz, B-I-Z, as a zebra woman.weebly, WEEBLY.com. And, you can reach out to me. The best way to reach out to me, really, and Kimberly knows this, is through Facebook.
That's
I'm
right.
always on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook. But, if you want to go to my website, go to powerfulbizwoman.weebly.com.
All right. Okay. It's been great talking to you, Stephen. Thank you so much. Do you have any last words that you would like to share with the listeners this evening?
I just want to tell you, first of all, Kimberly, thank you for this platform that you have that other business owners can have to come on and share their story. And I thank you for what you're doing, because it is very important that people understand the legal and financial aspects of being in business. And the one thing that I want people to know is, don't be afraid of anything that deals with the legal or financial part of your business. Because when you embrace that part, and when you get a grasp of that, and you get a clear understanding of that, you are ready for everything. When the clients come, you have everything in place to cover your assets and to protect everything you worked hard for, because you don't want something to happen 10 years down the road where everything you work hard for, it just goes, it disappears, because you were not legally and financially prepared to deal with the what ifs while being in business.
Absolutely. All right. Well said. And again, like I said, thank you for coming on tonight and sharing your story. I know that you're very busy, and I do appreciate your time, and I'm sure everybody else appreciates it too. From my audience and the listeners out there this evening, again, like I said, my name is Kimberly McLemore, and I'm the host, and I'm also the founder and the owner of the Women's Small Business Initiative. And this program comes on every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. You can find us on Spreaker. You can also find us through Facebook, SoundCloud, Twitter, YouTube, where you can listen to the program. The thing is really important that we want this program to be reached out to everybody. So please make sure you follow us and like the Spreaker program through WSBI. And also, hey, the more people we have following us, then we're going to have an opportunity to get this onto iHeartRadio, which I think is really important, because we'll have a larger audience that people can hear stories like this and get a better grasp about what it is to be in business. But like I said, until then, you also can reach me at www.sbillc.com. And like I said, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. But until then, you all enjoy the rest of your evening. And thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.